All right, so USC is 6-0 overall, 4-0 in conference, and I've got their Washington State game grades. As well, I've got some four-star recruiting news in hoops. That's coming up next on Locked On USC.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I am your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Whether you're watching on YouTube or wherever you download your podcast, we are free. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if you are watching on YouTube, I really appreciate you for subscribing. And if you haven't, hit that red subscribe button. It really means a lot. You'll never know how much. Okay. And you can always follow me at Twitter at Mark Culkin. That's Mark with a C, Kulkin. All right. So every week I throw out my grades. And I got grades coming up for the football team. We're going to always start with the offense because that's who they are, right? What everyone anticipated this going to be about. Maybe they're not. We talked about that on our previous episode a little bit. Maybe USC's identity is maybe they're a defensive team. They scored 30 points. They won 30-14. But overall, I don't think we'd say the offense carried the game against Washington State. They did. They were serviceable. That's the way I was describing how the defense needed to be in 2022. Maybe all we need out of the offense is the defense to continue to exceed expectations. But we'll get to the defense in the second segment. We always start off with the offense first. Again, I mentioned they were serviceable. The passing game, it was off a little bit. The O-line, they're battling some injuries. We know that Justin Diedrich is battling through whatever he's dealing with his leg, unspecified. I'm sure most of you have figured out by now. But again, there's other guys along the offensive line who are also banged up. At this time of year, everybody is, but I thought the offensive line, despite everything they're battling and going up against a really good, solid Washington State defense and defensive line and linebackers, they performed really well, and especially in the run game. Short yardage situation, they have some issues. But Travis Dye was the run game, and I'm about to get into the individual position grades momentarily. I want to give you some overall thoughts. And again, 30 points is more than enough to win pretty much any game. But when you're averaging 42 points, it kind of, when you're coming off that inconsistent effort that you had against Arizona State the week before at home, it just kind of felt a little disappointing with not looking as crisp and as sharp as they could be. And you have to start asking yourself, why, or is the offense, I don't want to say stumbling, but why aren't they more consistent at this point of the season? Because now that the schedule is going to ramp up as far as the strength of schedule, starting this Saturday in Utah. Okay, we're going to start with quarterback. Caleb Williams. What did I do? What did I give you, Caleb? I'm going to. I thought about it. I want to give you a B. I got to make it work a little bit harder. B minus for this effort. Were you under pressure? Absolutely. Did you escape the pressure? Absolutely. You were fantastic. But when you were escaping pressure on a couple occasions, you went to the sideline, and rather than throwing the ball away, you're outside the pocket, you held on to the ball, and you took the sack. You took the tackle for loss. Didn't quite understand that. So that's something that we need to improve on because you're making those first down conversions even harder. And yeah, you're going to be successful more times than not. Nevertheless, your your peer for Washington State was doing the exact thing that I'm encouraging you to do, and that's when he got to the sideline or he was outside the pocket, he threw the ball away to live another down. He didn't take the yardage loss. He suffered enough of that with the 5 sacks that he suffered in the field of play. So, um, 15 for 29 throwing the ball. You did have a couple touchdown passes. Okay, great. 52% completion rate. That's not great. Now, look, I get it. Your wide receivers did not help you out at all. A lot of drops. You had one noticeable one from Taj that would have been a touchdown. Mario had a few that were just really hard to understand. But again, Mario, he made up with a couple of touchdown grabs, including a fighting diving one on a poor throw, Caleb. Let's face it. You did put it where only Mario would catch it, but it wasn't a great throw on that first throw. Got to do better there. He did have, an offensive pass interference that, took away a nice play. But again, you're missing some open guys. Your technique looked off a little bit. And, this is a second game where you struggled against good defenses. So we got to see if this is a trend because it's also a time where your numbers weren't great throwing the ball, where you didn't talk to the media after the game. And hopefully we'll see you Tuesday or Wednesday. So hopefully it's some struggles getting used to some really good defenses in a new conference. You've got a really good defense, supposedly, coming up this Saturday on the road, and those numbers are going to have to improve if USC wants to win this game or have a better chance or an easier opportunity of winning that game. I guess is the best way of putting it. Running backs, let's just say the running back grade is going to be an A because it was Travis Dye and Travis Dye all game long. He should have had 100 yards in the first half. And 200 for the game had the play calling not been so balanced. When I say finger quotes balanced, if you're not watching this on YouTube, I felt they were forcing the throw more than they had to. They could have ran the ball all game if they wanted to. And Travis Dye, again, 28 carries, 149 yards net, one touchdown. He had another one taken off the board because of a holding penalty. Just fantastic. It brought you back old memories of tailback view and like Charles White, the guys who just would keep beating and keep coming back. Travis Dye, he's all heart. Not the biggest guy, not the strongest, not the fastest or elusive, but he's a damn good college football running back. And you know what? If he doesn't make it in the NFL, who knows? He might. I think he's going to make a great coach. All right. Let's see. Moving on. Wide receivers, tight ends. Take the C grade and run with it. Look, you guys were targeted 27 times. You caught 15 of them. I've gone over how many. I haven't gone over how many drops. If there were enough of them that I don't want to keep count. Caleb wasn't missing that many bad throws. He had a few, but you guys were more than his own nemesis in the Washington State secondary. So take the C grade, run with it. Again, Mario lifted that up with the 2 touchdown grabs, especially the sliding diving grab. To help give the team a little bit more separation offensively. Jordan Addison, he was 3 for 6, with 3 receptions, targeted 6 times. I don't know how much of that. I think it was a lower leg contusion he suffered at some point during the game. How much that bothered him, but he didn't have the blocking by the wide receiver. It's just kind of meh. So again, take the C grade, run with it. And I anticipate you guys having a much better game in Utah. And we'll go over that when we start breaking down that game this week. And just a heads up, I will be on Locked On Ute later this week with their host, JP Wisterfeld. So look forward to that. We'll have a nice spirited crosstalk discussion. Even though his team did kind of spoil the atmosphere or the big game atmosphere when they lost at UCLA. We'll get into that later. Excuse me. Offensive line, I'm going to give you guys two different grades. Run blocking, solid A. We were opening up massive holes, and I just wish you guys had more opportunity to do that. Pass protection, though, I'm going to drop down to a C. So you guys are going to get a B overall because, again, I am keeping in mind what you guys are dealing with injury-wise. And, again, a couple of bad penalties. I saw a really bad, I don't know who had the bad read, but a mix-up on the left side between Voorhees and Bobby Haskins, where the Washington State defender got a clean shot on Caleb. Didn't go down, but they got a clean shot on him. So got to clean it up a little bit. Overall, for the offense, I'm going to give them a C. You know what? B minus. 30-14 win. Solid Washington State defense you guys are going up against. Fast. They create havoc. They're aggressive. Very similar defense that USC likes to employ, but USC has better athletes across the board. And I think that was the difference. But again, what I would have liked to have seen more since the passing game wasn't being efficient, wasn't consistent. Just keep running the ball when it's working. They're picking up 5 yards at carry with Travis Scott. Keep going with it. They can stop it. Maybe that would have taken a little bit of pressure off the passing game. And the short yardage on offense, Eric McKinney over there on WeAreSC.com, which, by the way, you need to get over there. We've got a sign-up special, $10 for the year. He wrote an article about how successful USC was with their short yardage. In 58 attempts, they were perfect. That streak came to an end against Washington State. And on one of them, they had a 3rd and 1 on their own side of the 50, somewhere around the 40. And for some reason, somebody called a jet sweep with Jordan Addison. It ended up a 7-yard loss. Again, get the first down, then get Tricky Dicky on the left side of the 50. Just, it wasn't the right place or time. I wouldn't have made that play call. So, if you're good, look, we're talking about grades and doing better. That wasn't on the show and tell syllabus that I handed out. You don't do those kind of trickeration plays, and I wouldn't have done it. So that's what we're doing there for the offense. There's your grade, B minus. Overall grade on the offense. You're going to be traveling to Utah, where you're going to have to play a much cleaner game. And, you haven't turned the ball over. You've turned it over once all season. Next week wouldn't be a good time to start. I know I'm kind of leaning toward the negative, but that's something that, as long as the USC offense protects the ball, I think they're going to be fine. That's the point. A lot of upside with that offense because they haven't played a complete game yet. You know what else has some upside? So, from cringing at the pump to getting an eye-popping check at your favorite restaurant, inflation is hitting us all where it hurts. And it really hurts. That's why I started using Upside. Upside is this really incredible app. And for anyone who buys gas, groceries, or dines out, and I do a lot of that, with every purchase, I'm earning cash back thanks to Upside. All right, I actually did this. It works, and I've been paid back. I went and got gas, spent $25, and because they have this special promotion, and I'll go over here in a moment, I got an email a few days later that I got my $5 back, as well as the the sense that they were giving a discount on the per gallon. So I got back essentially $5.46. And this is what you need to do if you want to start getting some money back. You're going to go download the free Upside app, and you're going to use my promo code LOCK, and you're going to get $5 back or more for your first purchase of $10 or more. So next, you're going to claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. You check in at the business, pay as usual with your credit or debit card, and then you're going to get paid. In comparison to credit card rewards or loyalty programs, you could earn up to 3 times more cash back with Upside. And Upside users are earning more than $1 million every week. That's probably why they have a 4.8 star rating on the App Store. So download the free Upside app and use promo code LOCKED to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more using promo code LOCKED. Okay, defense stepped into the room, time to get your grades. You see your peers are on offense. They're walking away with their report cards. You did okay. You guys did a lot better. Yeah. Gold plates all around. 2 words to describe you guys. And this is a joke, and I hope everybody gets it. Better than serviceable. Yeah. 3 words. You get the political joke there. My point being is, at the beginning of the year, I said that we just needed USC's defense to be serviceable because everyone anticipated that USC's offense was just going to be like a pinball machine, just lighting up points left and right. Well, kind of the opposite. Yeah, heading into Washington State, USC's they were averaging 40 points a game, and a lot of credit needs to go to the defense because of their contribution and how they've helped the offense look maybe better than they are, or at least up to this point. I guess that's fair with it. So they played the game essentially without 2 starters. Shane Lee missed the entire game. Kalen Bullock missed pretty much the entire game. He was ejected 2 minutes into the second quarter for a targeting call. And I'm about to give you some stats here on why the defense is fantastic and why they are better than serviceable. One of my Twitter followers, Darth Tommy, he posted these stats, and I just got to rattle this off. This is amazing. In their first 6 games of the 2022 season, USC's second half defense has conceded 5.33 points per game. That's a total of 36 points spread out over 6 games. 4.32 yards per play on 188 plays. USC has given up a total of 812 yards in the second half. That's a crazy number. They've also contributed 7 interceptions, 16 sacks, 25 tackles for loss, 2 fumbles recovered. Where's the partridge in the pear tree? Because by the time 12 games is over, that list is going to sound like the 12 Days of Christmas, right? Those are some amazing numbers. So let's break down each position group and find out why this group is doing so well. Defensive line, rush ends, A. You had 5 sacks between 2 players. Tuli Tuiapulotu, he earned the Pac-12 Defensive Lineman of the Week, as well as the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week. Nick Figueroa probably came in second place. He had 2 sacks. They had 8 of the 9 defensive line rush ends combined for the team had 9 PFLs. They had 8 of them. They did have a couple of mistakes, but overall they were solid against a quarterback that typically in the past has given USC defense fits, but they contained Cameron Ward. When he wasn't running out of bounds, he was eating dirt. He had grass stains all over that uniform. And you got to give a lot of credit to that defensive line of the Western. They did their job. The linebackers, I'm going to speed this up. Man, I'm just quickly. B plus, Raylan Goforth, he checked in. He was subbing in for Shane Lee. And I'm not going to say that he's going to replace Shane Lee, but there was almost no discernible drop off. He led the team in tackles with 8. Outstanding job on Raylan's part. Eric Gentry, again, played a big role, 5 tackles, 3rd on the team. Again, defense was just solid. That front 7 group, amazing. The secondary, you got to give them a B plus, right? They played pretty much the entire game, 3 quarters without Caleb Bullock, and you were able to tell the difference immediately that he's not on the field. And this isn't really a slight to the backups, but it's more of a tribute to how good Caleb Bullock is and why opposing teams don't try and challenge USC. The play following Caleb's ejection, Washington State went deep, and they went over the top for a big play. There it is. But they didn't, they eventually scored a touchdown on that drive, as well as they had another touchdown on a short passing play in a spot where Caleb would normally be. Again, just kind of have to point that out. Overall, though, that's all they got through the air. They held Washington State's passing game, which was pretty prolific, to 19 for 32, 172 yards. I mentioned the 2 touchdowns, but that was it for the scoring. USC held, they shut them out in the second half. Halftime was 17-14. That's a dramatic pause. I need to let that sink in. Washington State had a really good offense coming into the game. They left like they didn't have a really good offense. We'll see how they perform this week because they're going to be at Oregon State. And Oregon State gave USC fits when they were. Good luck, Washington State. Again, so I mentioned secondary B plus. Mekhi Blackman, he was second on the team with 7 tackles. I mentioned how much, what they did holding their passing. They basically held Washington State in check the entire offense. So overall, you're going to give the defense an A. I wanted to give them an A plus, but for the first time all season, the defense was shut out. They didn't get a takeaway. They almost had one. They almost created a safety, but guys eventually, it didn't come to fruition. So, if the defense plays like that this coming Saturday in Salt Lake City, USC will be just fine. Special teams, again, they improved. We're going to get you out of the way real quick. B plus, Dennis Lynch, perfect 3 for 3 on the field goals. Kickoff coverage was fantastic. I don't think Washington State ever started past the 25-yard line. And it got to a point where they were start catching the kicks. And punching, again, was solid. So B plus, they're going to need to bring that same effort also on the road because you get solid special teams, you get a solid defense. You're going to anticipate USC's offense finding itself, and it would be great if it found itself for 4 quarters on the road at Utah because it's going to be a challenging environment. Okay, so there you go. There's your grades. Overall, defense gets an A. Offense, I gave you guys what was that again? Going back, I gave you a C, and special teams a B plus. Not bad, right? I'd bring that home to mom and dad with that. But again, you can do. There's work to be done everywhere across all of them. All right, I'm going to bring you the Nissan moment of the game. Yes, It's that time. Our partners at Nissan have worked with us to create a new segment across the Locked On College Network titled Thrilling Moments, where we highlight the most exciting play from USC's game or throughout the history of USC. This week's thrilling moment from USC, I'm going to cheat. It's going to be the Tuli Tuiapulotu moments. 3 sacks. Uh, he was just everywhere. He had the team record at USC is 4. And Tuli was literally wrecking Washington State by himself. His brother got drafted. Tuli, right now, as I mentioned, he was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week. He was the Pac-12 Defensive Lineman of the Week. If he maintains this pace, where he already has 7 sacks from the season, you play 12 games, you get 1 sack per game on average. He's going to have that baker's dozen or more, and he's probably going to get drafted really high. So let's appreciate Tuiapulotu why we have him, because I'll tell you what, he is making that USC defense that everybody was worried about pretty damn good. Yeah, they really are. So there you go. This segment has been inspired by the Tuiapulotu Nissan Thrilling Moments. And across Nissan's new lineup of vehicles, you can pursue what thrills you in the all-new Frontier, Armada, or Pathfinder today. Available now at nissanusa.com. All right, well, we still got a few minutes here. And you know what? We love to talk USC football, but I love to talk USC basketball. And I'm going to get you to love USC hoops as well, because Andy Enfield is recruiting like Lincoln Riley in USC football. Yes, that's right. I went there. Look, the USC men's team basketball program, they open up their season in just under a month from now, November 7th. They host Florida Gulf Coast, a.k.a. Dunk City, where Andy Enfield made a name for himself, and that's why he is USC's coach right now. Well, it's going to be a little bit of a flashback for this year's team. They're going small ball. They don't have, that big man superstar in the middle like Evan Mobley, Isaiah Mobley, or, a Big O Onyeka Okongwu. So he is recruiting, and for the type of ball he wants to get back to. You've got to be able to play defense, and you got to be able to shoot the ball. And the last few years, there was you saw flashes of it, but it wasn't, again, the consistency wasn't there. This team and the way he's recruiting for that Dunk City type of up tempo, get the ball up court, Dunk City, shoot from the outside, drain the 3. So on Friday last week, USC got their first 4-star of the 2023 class with Silas Demery Jr. And then today, I'm recording this on Monday. You're watching this in your first listen, on your first watch on USC on Tuesday. They got a commitment from another 4-star in Arrington Page. He's a 6'9" power forward out of Marietta, Georgia. So you've got 2 4-stars committing within days of each other, and the 2023 class is well on its way. Arrington is, again, according to On3, he's the number 71 overall recruit in the 2023 cycle. And USC was able to get his commitment over teams like Indiana, Miami, Cincinnati, some big name programs. Silas Demery from North Carolina. He's got some family out here from LA. 6'5", point guard. Can play defense. I'm not sure if he's going to get to the paint and distribute like a point guard, but he's definitely a facilitator and offensive minded, and he's going to I think he'll be able to step into that role that Boogie Ellis and Pete Peterson have made popular at USC. So again, you got a couple of 4-stars within days of each other with USC Hoops. USC is not just a football school. Andy Enfield has got that hoops program humming. They're challenging for NCAA postseason tourney bids every season. And it looks like they're going to continue because recruiting is just doing outstanding. All right, there you go, man. We're 30 minutes is up, and I'm literally over again. So we're going to cheat. We're going to keep going because USC football, USC Hoops deserves it. I will be back again with another episode of Locked On USC. You get us 5 days a week. When you're done making it your first listen and your first watch every day, head on over to wearesc.com. We've got a really hot subscription special right now. So if you want to get all of your recruiting information, all of your USC coverage that I can't fit in to this site on this episode, $10 for the year. But everything here at Locked On USC is free, and we will always keep it free. And that's why we love you. And that's why we want to come back every day. So until then, you know what to do.